Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to episode number 16 of my slasher movie archives. In this video, I will be giving my review for Blind, a locksmith with a disturbing obsession, released in 2004. The movie also comes with a short in the bonus features called Perry's Wait. It's roughly around 25 minutes long, so I will be giving my thoughts on the short as well. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one. For happily married detective Richard Larson, the hunt for a demented serial killer gets personal when he begins to experience mysterious visions of the killer's victims before their bodies are discovered. The trail of evidence points to Clive Rudolph, a seemingly affable locksmith with a disturbing past. When yet another woman is abducted, the tension mounts as the race to save her life grows even more desperate. But the closer Detective Larson comes to uncovering the facts, the nearer he gets to exposing a shattering secret that will haunt him forever. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. Before I move on to Blind, I wanted to briefly share my thoughts on the short film Perry's Wait that's in the bonus features. It's roughly around 25 minutes long, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it because it's not a slasher. It's kind of split up into sections with different titles such as The Bloodshed, The Arrival, The Beckoning, and The Wait. I believe that's all of them. Basically, what we have here is a crime drama that crosses over into supernatural territory. We have two brothers who are planning to do some sort of job, definitely something illegal. One brother is reluctant and doesn't want to do it, and the other brother pressures him into it. He uses the fact that he helped his reluctant brother out of hard times before, so he uses that as leverage. To make a long story short, it doesn't end well. It felt like it was 25 minutes of trying to piece together a story, meaning you have to fill in a lot of the blanks for yourself. And I thought there was no real payoff with the ending. It does have a clear-cut ending, but there's nothing really here to connect us to the characters to care. So I have to be honest here, I didn't really care for the short all that much, so I'm going to leave it at that and I'm going to move on. So moving on to Blind, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the characters we have in this movie. The main character we have in this movie's storyline is Detective Richard Larson. The story is told in a non-linear way, but it basically follows Detective Larson as he tries to solve not only local missing person cases, but also a series of local murders as well. Throughout the movie, as we follow Detective Larson, we see parts of his personal life and how his job affects him. His wife Carmen is a good, supportive wife who tries to comfort him and understand what he's going through, but Richard shuts her out. There are times throughout the movie where Detective Larson will have dreams, and it almost feels like the movie crosses over to supernatural territory. These dreams seem to be clues to help point him in the right direction to solve the case. Some of the side characters we have are Detective Larson's partner, the police chief who has Detective Larson seeing a doctor who evaluates him to see if he is still fit to work the case. So the doctor is like a psychologist or a mental therapist who evaluates Detective Larson ever so often. We also have a medical examiner who I thought was a pretty cool character. He gives a lot of insight on what the killer is doing with the female victims. And of course, we also have the victim characters. Overall, I really enjoyed the characters we have in Blind. I thought the acting was really solid for a low-budget film, and I thought the dialogue was set up very well for each character. I thought there was a lot of chemistry between the characters. The conversations in this movie always felt like real conversations real people would have, and I really enjoyed that. The storyline was slow-paced, and the movie was a little bit of a slow burn. And there's a glaring plot hole that kind of stood out to me. At one point in the movie, a body has been discovered, and there's a lot of detailed information given from the landowner who found a body on his property. Now, the detectives just take his word that nobody is living close by, but if they would have done their job and investigated and searched these so-called vacant properties, they would have found the killer much earlier in the movie. So it kind of felt like these detectives were not good at their job. Now, I did mention before that the movie is told in a non-linear way, so you really actually never know where you are in the movie's timeline. So there is that. All I know is that a body was discovered, and they didn't bother to search the surrounding properties. And if they would have found the killer. So I'm complaining here. With all that being said, I really did enjoy the storyline for this movie, even though I have some issues with it. The ending of the movie does reveal why the movie is called Blind, and it kind of tied everything together nicely, and it helped out my overall enjoyment of the movie storyline. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie, that is the killer and the kills. I really like the setup for the killer in this movie. We get a lot of backstory and get a good look at what he went through as a child. He most definitely has mommy issues. Everything he experienced being with his mother, everything he heard her say and seen her do, left a lasting impression on him. The killer is a product of hate fed by family and society. I really like how the movie shows how his childhood has affected him as an adult, to the point where we see him laying in a fetal position, laying naked on the floor. Now, of course, as a slasher movie fan, I just wanted to see him get up and do something about it, and do some killing instead of weeping on the floor. But I get it, it's a look into the psychological damage this person lives with. I also really like the fact that the killer is a locksmith who can get in and out of people's homes with ease. The killer is also pretty crafty, and in his basement, we see all of his arts and crafts. So he has his killer's lair all decked out with his handmade artwork. It's pretty cool. And I absolutely love the mask that the killer wears. It's absolutely fantastic. It kind of reminds me of a little of the Hag's mask and curtains, but it's not quite the same, obviously. It's a pale white mask that looks very creepy coming out of the dark shadows. The killer feels the need to wear the mask not only to hide his identity, but to hide his face from his own discomfort. Now that's pretty dark. And as far as the kills go, unfortunately this movie has a very low body count. We get to see the killer embalming one of his victims because he has a thing about preserving female bodies. He puts a lot of attention into not damaging the female bodies, so it's a slow process with the women he holds captive. He eventually disposes the bodies at a convenient location. We also have another scene where we see the killer stabbing a male victim with a sickle and shows absolutely no remorse. It was the highlight of the movie for me. The movie definitely needed a few more kill sequences to up the overall entertainment value for me. But overall, I really did enjoy Blind. Even though I do have a few issues with it, I still recommend it to anyone who enjoys independent horror. I thought it was a really good first effort by director Jeff Wedding, who I got to meet in person a few weeks ago. Even though I got to meet the director, I still didn't hold anything back with my review and give my honest opinion. IMDb give Blind a 4 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. So please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen Blind, or just let me know what you think about my review. And as always, I would like to thank you all for watching.